In this video, I'll show an example edition of a system. You can see a couple boxes and other cylindrical objects I have near the front there that I already created. So this would be an example of that. Just gonna enter a sketch and make a box. Pretty straightforward. And you can do this for things like hydraulic pumps, fuel pumps, radar, avionics, baggage, etc. Just what you're looking to do here is just create a volume to take up the space that the system might. It doesn't have to be a detailed sketch, just has to give a representative volume. So when you're building your plane, you know if everything fits. And this I'm going to reflect over to the other side. So come in a pair. There we go. These I'm just going to call 2 hydraulic pumps. The engines you can also create as a system. The engines you can see right there are not really appropriate for this plane. I'll go through and change them in a moment. Again, you don't need exact details on the engine, you just need an approximate shape. It's kind of an outline. So we're going to shorten this up a lot. And you'll have noticed that I had some pylon structure already set up. And once we change the shape of this engine, we're going to have to update the structure going to the engines. Just keep that in mind once we're done here. I'll show a video of that as well. That'll be in this video. So the dimensions I'm using here are just guesses, approximations. The engine in L23 is a CJ610, which is produced by General Electric. So if you want to find maybe some drawings or something of that, that could be of use. Make sure you get the version that goes into business jets, not military aircraft. So here I'm just making a profile with a rough outline. I'm going to go back and refine it a little bit in a second. But using the profile tool is a lot easier than adding individual lines. So just kind of get all the segments that I expect out there, and then we'll work through them. Again, just use your creative judgment to do whatever you feel is appropriate for the engines. You're not basing off of anything, just creating it from scratch. And then obviously I'm only doing half of this profile because it's rotated about the axis, the central axis of the engine. So here we've done with the sketch, and for some reason we have an error in here where it's not touching the axis, which is what gave us the problem. It was trying to revolve it. Right here is our problem. This bottom section isn't touching the axis, or it's not constrained to it. And see, there we go. It automatically updated. Now, the color is set to red, which is not a good idea on my part, because you can't tell the difference between what's an error and what's not. So, for the device, don't make your objects red. I'll change that later though. So now the errors that it was giving us are for the structure going to the engines, because the plane that they were extruded to no longer exists. You can't find it. So you see you get all these different edges, and it's not good for this pylon the way I extruded it, because I did an up to next surface. And really what could be an alternative option is you can extrude it a certain dimension and then cut it with the engine. That's one way to go about it, depending on whether or not you want your pylon on a jagged face or a smooth face. I wanted it on a smooth face anyway, so this is how I did it. Now it wants us to re-select the face that the pylon is going to. So I moved the pylon structure to be on a smooth face, so that when I extrude it in the Y direction, it contacts a smooth face. And it wants us to select the face. So, profile is the profile of the structure, direction is Y component. So we need to edit the face. There we go. And we still have an error. I'm not sure what the error is. Okay. There we go. So it's fixed. And now the same thing for the aft portion of the structure. Need to move that up. And get the full front one as far forward as possible. And like I mentioned, change the color. Now the structure I have in there is just kind of free-handed. You can move it around to make it look more appropriate. I know my Z coordinates are a little off. But there are how to create systems.